I've been wrong before.
Not me.
Just in general, I've been wrong about, decisions I've made in life. I've sinned before against God and others. But I don't think I've ever been more wrong than my Conor and Gaethje take. I think that was the wrongest I've ever been in a long time. And I didn't even get a week of, my predictions sitting. It was immediately debunked.
Yeah.
Dana White just came in and just said, shut up, you're wrong, and here's why.
You didn't even get in the cookie jar and get caught eating a cookie. You got slapped in the face on the way to the cookie jar. I get slapped in the face by just looking at the cookie jar. Yeah. Because it was a prediction, and it was a bold one. But it was, so incredibly wrong. Yeah. But it wasn't that wrong. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was. I've seen more pathetic things in my life.
Listen, there was smoke around Conor Gaethje.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
So it was wrong. My prediction was wrong. But it wasn't out of this world to assume that those two guys could be paired.
And with the Khabib situation the way it was fair for people to think he wasn't going to fight.
Right.
But yeah, Khabib smashed no matter what. And now we're about to get some Brett Favre. Some Brett Favre post-Daddy Death vibes. He's going to come out and throw for 350 in the first half on
it was the Raiders, right? It was the Raiders game?
Yeah.
Listen, Khabib seems like a guy who
he smashed for father.
Yeah.
Gaethje has no chance.
He smashed.
Khabib smashed for father.
My
father spirit, go with him into cage.
Right.
Father fly with eagle.
He eat Gaethje. Father tell me smash.
Yes.
All of Dagestan tell me smash.
Brother.
You know this, brother.
You know this, brother.
You know this. Yeah, this is so exciting. And it's in October.
Yeah.
Both of our birthdays.
On my birthday.
On your birthday.
Mine's the 24th. Yeah. Look at that.
That's incredible.
Fight party on my birthday. It's perfect.
What a gift. And Khabib has become the type of fighter where it's like a show when he's fighting. It's exciting.
Big drama show. Khabib is now... He's one of the faces of combat sports. You know, he's up there with the Conors and Canelos right now. When his fight comes up, it's all over everything. Especially now with the ESPN platform, he's gonna be the while we have him, because it looks like he's on the way out. He announced he's got 2 fights left and
GSP.
Yeah, and Dana kind of brought that dream back from the dead, because he's been just pushing off GSP talk for so long, I believe, because he didn't want that, GSP obviously coming right off into the sunset with the belt again. But, if it's your champ's going to retire, he's got one more fight left. So either way, the belt's going up for grabs. It's what's going to do GSP Khabib numbers?
Did you see what GSP said? GSP said, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, I thought I could relax and retire, but now, this. It looks like the Khabib fight would be the only fight GSP would come out of retirement for. So now GSP's like, here I am thinking that was a closed door, because Dana White was vocal about not wanting that fight. And now it's like, Dana White, not only was he vocal about, he literally said, sure, I'll entertain that fight. And then he said, I'll do whatever Khabib wants. Yeah. So Dana White's not an idiot. He's publicly announcing, hey, GSP, be ready, because we're okay with that fight, and that would be a good send-off for both of you, really, because it's a perfect legacy fight. If you think about it.
This is the greatest power move in MMA history, and Khabib's not going anywhere, and he just said this so he can get what he wants, and now he's got all this leverage.
Khabib smashed Dana.
Yeah.
Wow.
Father died. Khabib take charge now. It's the Khabib show now.
50 G's, baby.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that.
No.
It's a power move, but...
Yeah, I think he's out of there.
Khabib, I don't know Khabib is the type of person to make that power move, but I don't know if it's just two more for him.
If he smashes GSP, why not smash Conor one more time?
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's one of those things for Khabib where the plan is two more, but maybe there's, he's
the DC situation. It's one more, but then... the cards, get dealt, and it's like, you know what, one more. All right, now the Stipe trilogy plays out. What if DC wins and John wants the one more final chapter?
DC's not retiring after Stipe. I think. I do not think DC's retiring.
Win or lose?
So I think if DC loses, he retires.
Okay.
I think DC will win, and if DC wins, it just doesn't make any sense to retire unless he wants to retire the heavyweight champ. I would understand that, but a guy like DC is so competitive.
Yeah.
Beating Stipe in a trilogy after having already beaten him and lost to him.
Yeah.
I feel like is a shot in the arm.
For sure.
I don't know. I still and the heavyweight
but
division.
He is. At this point, he's established himself as one of the however many you want to include in that group, one of the 5 elite broadcasters for the biggest show. So he does have a legitimate new chapter of his life that it seems like he's transitioning into. He's got that show with Ariel. It seems like he has more and more he's adding to his plate, which is typically a telltale sign of a fighter on the way out.
Yeah, but John. That's the only name.
Right. But we've seen how John goes twice, and now how's John going to go, even a few more years after the fact, and DC with more on his plate?
But there is a narrative here. Let's remember, there is a narrative. There's always the...
Brock Lesnar. That's the one that, that's a payday right there. Where
I think
it's
the ship sailed on Brock.
Really? You think he's gone for good?
I think that the interest around a Brock DC fight has lessened significantly.
What do I have to give? Literally, whatever, fingers, arms. What do I have to give for Brock Francis?
Definitely one of your toes, but not an unimportant one. Your balance will be affected.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll pitch in a toe.
Okay.
I'll throw in the middle, the very center one.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be...
We don't have to give our big toes, because, we're not savages.
Then I'll give a couple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Damn. Well, I think you're good. You can just give your toes. I'll keep mine.
Yeah.
And I got Brock.
You got Brock?
No. Actually, I don't know. This is weird. Brock
It's
Francis.
Weird. It's
Brock
weird.
Francis, if Brock goes out there and just wrestles him, Brock is a
pit
beast.
bull.
And Stipe was able to wrestle Francis, and Brock is way bigger and on much more steroids than Stipe. And they're going to let both of them gear up before this fight.
Yeah.
Because you can't test them during. Come on.
No.
If Brock
you do that on Fight Island, they have no commission on Fight Island.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
it's a self-commissioned event. The UFC is the commissioner.
Okay, I have a perfect. That explains Khamzat.
Yeah.
That explains.
Well, we've had a few in the past.
He's on drugs. Hot take. I called it now. Khamzat is on drugs. I don't know what drug. I think it's Turinabol.
He's on that Allah.
He is. He's on that Ahamandullah or whatever.
Yeah.
What is that? Ahamandullah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna piss off somebody who's Muslim. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. I love Jesus, but I love you too. I apologize.
Yeah.
But Khamzat is on drugs. I'm just gonna say that openly.
Okay.
I hope he's not watching.
Because he will smash you, brother.
He smash. So much smash.
Brother.
His smash comes with 2 E's in the middle. Smash.
Smash. Yeah.
No, but I think he's on drugs. It's the only explanation. Now, human beings aren't supposed to be able to do that.
Nah,
Science is going out of control. We need to stop. We need to pull this back. What lab was he created?
Yeah, what is he? Where do you get the rat lip? Where does that come from? He's not a human. I don't know.
Rat lip referring
Bravo to Conor McGregor. How does the man just 2 words? The man tweets 2 words, and he's now in the hottest fighter of the week's mouth.
And not only that, we know exactly who he was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think he mentioned
2 words.
Did he?
Nope. Nothing. Just sees the kid's second fight. Everybody's freaking out, praising the guy, sucking on his toes. Conor, rat lip. Now the kid's getting asked about Conor in every interview he does. It's like, bravo, Conor.
Welcome.
He just knows exactly what to do.
Conor does not want that smoke, though.
Oh, no way. No way.
Stay far away from that, Conor.
No.
Bring a dolly to that fight.
Yeah.
Conor, if you're listening, listen, I love you. You might be able to beat Khabib on your best night, but this guy is like 20 pounds heavier than Khabib.
Yeah.
And we don't know. Might actually be better than Khabib because they say this guy can kickbox at an elite level too.
Yeah, they say the boxing is supposed to be pretty serious. I've gone back and watched some of his fights in like ACB and like some of these other organizations, and the dude is he's for real. He's very Khabib-esque though, because Khabib has very decent boxing as well. And people don't give him that credit.
People do not give him credit for that. That overhand right did not just land out of luck. Conor calls it a lucky shot. I disagree.
I mean, granted, Conor was concerned with the level change, so that's what opened the overhand up. But hey, that's MMA. Fair play.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like
he feinted the level change.
Yeah.
His boxing opened up there from being so elite at the one thing.
Right.
And I mean, you can't hate on that. Like, you can't say, oh, that was lucky. No, he caused you to react. And then manipulated that reaction. If he wasn't good, if he couldn't throw any strikes, he would have never thought to throw an overhand. Right. Just would have shot.
It's like Conor's kicking game. People don't give it credit because of his boxing game, but really he's a really well-rounded martial artist on the feet, and people, like to put him in like the Darren Till category and stuff, and not to say Darren Till is only a left hand by any means, but people put Conor in that category of like just a power punch, and it's like, nah, there's a lot keeping you lined up with that power punch. That kicking game is broad, but
I don't understand why people say that about Darren Till, and I just don't look. People are in the highest organization of fighting, and a guy specifically like Darren Till, who's knocked out multiple people, who's finished people, and who's gone in there with some of the best strikers. Wonderboy, Cerrone, I consider them some of the best strikers. If he just has one punch, there's no way he beats those people.
Oh, yeah.
0.0 chance. You don't just go in there and...
You look at him going the distance with Gastelum and Whitaker, and both of these guys, good close fights with the elite of 185 on the feet, though. Like Adesanya, I still think that fight will one day happen. Either if neither one of them's a champion or whatever, that fight's going to happen one day,
I agree.
And I think that, we're going to really get to see where he stands, because I think Adesanya is the high water mark and, for the bigger guys with the striking. So it's going to be real interesting. But yeah, there's some fun stuff for Till, some tests. I wasn't discouraged by his performance at all. I think...
Although people were saying you could give the fight to him.
I
don't understand that. We were watching that fight. Whitaker outlanded him in every round.
Whitaker was doing more.
Down.
Yeah.
So, people who wanted to give the fight to Till, I was saying that jokingly, but there's no way.
Till's a fan favorite right now. He's like, the casuals are holding him in their mind's eye going into the fight. It's just like the people who are saying Max got robbed. It's like, okay, you just like that guy. I see the robbery. Sure, you could say he won, but it was not a robbery, and you could say this was a close fight, but Till did not win, so it's like, I can see where people are coming from, but at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta step away from the fandom and just see things for what they are. For sure, especially when you have a bigger, when you're watching that fight from the outside, it's like, oh, Till looks like he's really throwing some heat, and Rob looks like he's just touching him up a lot sometimes and not doing too much, it's just...
I'm the only one who had Masvidal winning by unanimous decision against Usman, so...
Yeah.
I don't think my fandom had anything to do. I think I was just watching the fight, and I think just he was more active.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Whatever. Call a lawyer. That's my argument, I'm sticking to it. Now, let's talk Khabib really quick. Oh, Khabib. I've grown to love Khabib so much. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't like his manager. I don't know, there's something about him that I just dislike when I listen to him talk. Yeah. And I hear other people talk about him, but then again, the people who he manages...
Everybody's either on one end with him. There's nobody who's just like, oh yeah, I'll leave.
So in fairness, I don't know him, so I can't ever say that I don't like someone I don't know. So let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
There's something about him that gives me a weird, an off vibe, but then at the same time, his fighters love him so much. So there's some parts of Khabib's world and surroundings that I'm just like Luke Rockhold's a guy too, where he's some of the things he says just put me off-putting. But then DC, I love DC. And then Cain Velasquez, I love Cain Velasquez. I love some of the his coach, Javier Mendez. I like the cultures that he instills in his training. But Khabib, I've grown to love him just because of his approach to the fighting. This looks like the end, or the landing of the plane. How do you predict Khabib lands this plane? Give me the next couple fights, the results, and maybe what happens after.
Yeah.
Is Khabib the type of guy who is marketable after fighting?
It's crazy because if you would have asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have, never. He's just this scary monster. I've been on the Khabib train for a while now. I remember him fighting Rafael dos Anjos and just 23 takedowns or something. And it's Khabib has been that dude way before he was given the crown of that dude. He's been the baddest guy in the UFC for a long time. And I never saw it coming just because, he could be a big star over where he's from, but I never really saw him transcending in the American market. But I never saw the drama with Conor coming. I never, who could foresee that pre-fight buildup and what it turned into and what, manifested from it. Literal, legal action was taken, multiple lawsuits and charges came out of that fight promotion. And it's so that fight promotion became something else. Conor Khabib became a movie. That pre-fight reel they would show with Conor throwing that stuff's not acted. That's crazy, So that moment in time we got this action movie to lead up to that show, and Khabib was just one of the stars in this movie, and it just launched him into another stratosphere. We've seen things like the Masvidals and Diaz's of the world who, they're dogs their whole career. Khabib's another level of dog. Khabib's smashing everybody, don't get that wrong, but you see these guys who have these long respected careers, but then it just takes one to really put them over. And, Conor's really been the one for all those people. He put Nate over, and then Nate's flame became so bright it could, put Masvidal over. And really it all comes from Conor. So at the end of the day, this Khabib train just shows you how big of a star Conor really is to be able to help put somebody over in such a way. But, there's just something to Khabib. There's just this aura to him, and now we're seeing it, we're seeing it come up again with Khamzat, and it's we're kind of seeing that scary figure come up again. So he's got that boogeyman vibe to him, and just this Russian mystique that we don't really understand. And it's just terrifying, really, is what it comes down to. People see it and they're just terrified, and now he's got the platform to put that fear into more people. So now there's just the American masses are just terrified of this guy, and they don't want him to fight their American fan favorites. Well, now, honestly, people are interested, and they're what happens when Gaethje goes against Khabib? What could he do to that kind of style? How does he, so it's going to be fun. And I think that, we hear Dana saying, entertaining that GSP matchup, and that just blows it to a whole nother level, where I think we kind of see Khabib not landing the plane. I think we kind of see the plane transcending, and him, going off, flying over the horizon into whatever he wants next. And for Khabib, that might be a real quiet, post-fight career. I don't really see him commentating or something like that, but, we might get something out of Khabib. Who knows what's next for him, but I think that you don't beat Conor and GSP and just go ghost forever. But you never know. Khabib could be that guy. He could be that guy, but
seems like that guy.
He could be the GSP of our generation who, then retires and comes out in a couple years when Khamzat is, pound for pound number one, and is I want to smash this guy. And then we get
my gosh.
Khamzat,
wow.
Yeah, you didn't see that.
I actually don't want to see that fight.
No.
Because I don't want Khabib to lose. And even though they're the same fighter.
Yeah.
So if I like Khabib, I'll probably like this guy just as much.
But if we get a Khabib retirement, we get Khabib retiring and finishing the legacy on a GSP note, and then Khamzat becomes that next thing.
So you don't think he fights Conor again?
I don't know. Because it's everybody says that like the people around him, DC, yada yada yada, they all are like, oh, Khabib doesn't care about that Conor fight. He's not about the money. He doesn't want to give Conor that fight. But it's like, all right, well, what happens when that contract does come across the table after, say he does smash Gaethje and smash GSP, and then a Conor fight comes across the table with his name and $40 million attached to it or something. It's like,
say no to that.
How do you say no to that when it's like, all right, well, I'm about to retire after this. I'm about to not be making money anymore.
Especially if he feels he can smash Conor easily.
Right.
Which I imagine he does.
Right.
I don't think he
coming off of a Gaethje and a GSP fight, what isn't one more Conor fight?
I think the Conor fight's more likely than the GSP fight, personally, just because Conor would be ready sooner, and Dana, I think, would want to make that fight. And I think Conor Khabib is a bigger fight than Gaethje GSP. Than Khabib GSP. So Khabib GSP is bigger for like us.
Yeah.
But for the world, I think Conor Khabib 2 is the biggest fight ever made, ever. Especially, and if Conor wins, no chance they don't do the trilogy. No chance. No,
yeah. Oh yeah.
It'll be, bro.
Khabib.
It'll be like DC and Stipe. It'll be booked immediately. It'll be like, all right, let's run it back. Let's get this cash right again. Right. Dana's gonna be so happy. Dana will be the reddest shade of pink in the history of pink. Did you see he acknowledged that?
And the Akamoto interview, and he's like, yeah, just, the typical shade of pink.
Akamoto was like, I thought you'd have a better tan after being at Fight Island. He's like, nope, just the regular shade of pink. When he said that, I was like, oh, okay.
He reads it.
Yeah. Because I thought he was going to get, a little dicey.
Yeah.
I was like, because the way Akamoto made it sound, it sounded like he was trying to be funny, but it sounded a little more like mean.
Yeah.
And then Dana just ran with it, which was great.
Yeah.
Also, Dana telling Akamoto he doesn't know anything about the business of MMA to his face was incredible.
Like, blatantly. And I mean every MMA media member. Yeah,
then he literally said, you don't know anything. To Akamoto, you don't know anything about the business. Dana White is a different level of alpha.
Yeah.
He's just like, he walks in and like he just says things right to your face, but he doesn't even say it mean. He just says it like it's a fact you should know.
Well, because you got to think when he walks into these interviews, he's looking at it as like he's talking to one of his employees. I bet.
Right.
So it's like he could literally say whatever he wants to these people.
Yeah. Like Dana does not care.
So yeah.
Do you want anyone else leading the UFC?
I think about that because it's like, well, what happens after Dana? Where does UFC go from here after that?
So I'm saying, like, with all the negatives, because there are. I mean, do you want anyone else running that ship? Conor?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Conor? I think that's next.
Yeah.
That would be Conor and Khabib, co-owners of the UFC.
Yeah.
Wow, they make peace.
Yeah.
I actually think that the build-up to a Conor Khabib 2 fight is going to be less volatile. Because one, I don't think Conor has the anger toward Khabib that Khabib has toward Conor right now this second. I think when Conor was in the cage and said it's only business, you could tell that there was a lot of what he was saying that was exaggerated.
He was humbled. You saw the way he came out against Cowboy. That was a different guy.
Humbled. So exactly. And humbled by life, humbled by that fight.
Because he's been disrespectful to Cowboy in the past.
He was very in the 205. Was it 205? Or no, it was the Aldo press conference.
Yeah.
The World Tour right before Aldo pulled out.
Yeah, when they had Rousey and everybody was up there.
Yeah, he was, and then he was also in UFC 205 at that press conference.
Yeah.
They had little words, and then in this time, and I think that was partially because he respected Cowboy's career path,
right? And
maybe the way Cowboy was respectful toward him. But I agree with you. Something about that fight humbled him. Something about the entire experience, and I think Conor. Look. Conor's a showman, but I think he watches the videos back or looks at the tweets. That's why he deleted some of them and says that was a little too far. Yeah. I don't think he wants to publicly give Khabib that humility because he's still a guy with testosterone.
Yeah.
But deep down, I think that he knows that he crossed the line. So I don't think he crosses that line again. I think that even when he's saying, I want to focus on the skills out of him, like he's just talking about, I want to focus on just the talent.
Yeah.
So when they do the build-up, I think Conor's going to go in there and maybe talk about the skills and leave it at that. I actually think Conor will be less volatile, especially I think he'll be a lot more sensitive to Khabib because of his dad. I don't think he's going to try to do that and cross that line because I think at the end of the day, unless Conor's a sociopath, I don't think he's going to make those kind of jabs at a guy who's clearly already dealing with more than what fighting is.
Right.
So because of that, though, I still think there's going to be trash talk, but I think that the trash talk is going to be more like what we had with Ferguson and Khabib, where they're trash talking based on the talent and the skill, with some funny jabs thrown in there, but not nearly as Scarface-esque as what Conor was bringing last time, where you could tell he was drunk, and he was saying some, like, I'll find you and your whole family in Dagestan type of stuff, which was crazy. I don't think it gets to that point.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know if, Khabib doesn't seem to like it. He doesn't seem to care for all that stuff. So, and it depends on the climate it happens in. Because if Khabib, if this Gaethje fight goes to plan, it's like, well, what happened? Are we back to crowds and stuff by early next year? Like, at this point, we're going to be in October. They're fighting on Fight Island. So it's like, all right, in October, they're fighting on Fight Island. The end of October, damn near November, they're fighting on Fight Island. So it's like, well, when are we fighting in arenas again? When is there going to be 50,000 people there? And
I would predict sometime early next year.
Yeah.
Maybe January, February.
But I'm saying like full capacity, seat to seat, like no restrictions. When are we having full stadiums?
I don't even know if it's going to happen in 2021.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's the setting of Khabib Conor? The thing that makes sense that came to my mind is Canada has a really good rap on this, and they're starting to do different things and be able to put more stuff together. I think the MLB or one of the pro sports leagues, they're basing all their hubs out of Canada.
It's not baseball.
No?
It's got to be something else, yeah.
Okay.
Baseball's in... baseball has places everywhere, but they're not in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Canada, I guess, is further along in this than America, which... every country apparently is further along in this than America.
Apparently.
Or America's media just has the best way of getting people bought in. I don't know. But I think that we could see GSP Khabib in Canada next year.
Wow.
And imagine the spectacle on that.
That's a spectacle.
Because they can't do that in America. How are you going to have Canada's biggest star, Russia's biggest star, and then do it in America?
No, it's got to be an international fight.
Yeah, that's got to be.
But so does Conor Khabib. I feel like you have to do that one somewhere too.
We have to get a Conor card in Ireland before he's done. We have to.
Yeah, and a Conor Khabib fight in Ireland would be wild.
Yeah.
Well, although I like the idea of the rematch being in Russia.
Yeah.
That's cool because there's a lot of allure to that.
Yeah.
But boy, I don't think Dylan Dennis goes to Russia.
Even in Abu Dubai.
That's a good, that's a really good one.
Abu Dhabi would be cool for Conor Khabib. Have it in some just temple, Dana and some dudes are all wrapped up.
They're all just they're all sitting Indian style, just meditating. Yeah, that would be crazy. Man, there's just so many options for Khabib.
Yeah.
And I just so desperately want to see that Conor Khabib fight, just because few things built anticipation like that.
Right. They're the rare fighters that it truly doesn't matter who they're fighting.
Right.
The buzz around that fight is just something you can't those are the fights where when it's booked, you're excited for 3 months for that fight. We have a fight night card this weekend, but we had to check on that card. You don't even think about every card. They just come up. You're like, oh, these guys are fighting this weekend. But when a Conor card is even being talked about or a Khabib, it's different. But
now I want to transition to something. You had mentioned Gary V.
Gary V.
What's going on with Gary V?
Gary V is coming into the MMA world in a large way, apparently.
So wine, business, and entrepreneurship, and now he's coming in MMA.
Now he's coming to MMA. Apparently he made it to the NFL last year or the year before, started managing some players.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he started Vayner Sports. So he has NFL players. And now he's opening Vayner Sports Combat Division, and he signed, some Some big names. He got
Some names?
He got some names. He got Tony Ferguson.
What?
He got Tony Ferguson. He got Weidman. He got he got some big guy, Vitor Belfort.
What?
He's just I don't know. He got a good little stable of guys together right away. And when they made the announcement, yeah, it's pretty impressive. I don't know how hands on he's going to be. It's going to be different because obviously he isn't like in tight with a bunch of fight promoters or some fight buff, but you know, he's going to be able to get these fighters in some different lights. I think, you know, it's going to be interesting. Get them out there on a bigger, different platform, and you know, start to expand. You know, it's cool to see these fighters starting to get onto the ESPN platform. That, you know, like you got guys getting onto game shows and movies, and now with like Gary Vee. I don't know. I'm curious to see where he goes with these guys. Like, how does this evolve?
What this makes me believe is that Gary Vee sees investment opportunity in MMA.
Yeah, definitely.
So that means that if Gary Vee sees this, and Gary Vee has an eye for seeing things projecting upward, where is MMA going to be in 20 years?
Yeah.
Probably one of the biggest sports in the world.
Definitely.
So if Gary Vee's getting into this, he's the type of person that's getting into this because he says, this is going to make me tons of money. So that's good news for MMA fans.
Definitely.
That means that we're like the UFC. I think it's gonna what is it? How the high tide raises all ships. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think that as the UFC soars into this otherworldly popularity,
right,
everything else is gonna come up. Bellator's, your PFL, your what's another good one?
Bellator, PFL.
Not one. Everybody's talking bad about one championship, but them.
One is up there, yeah. In Asia, they get more viewers than the UFC gets over in America.
Just no pay-per-view.
Yeah, I believe it's free TV over there. But there's just so many people over there that like they get so many views. They're getting like 25 million views a show or something. Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think that man, MMA is going to be...
Yeah.
And that actually makes me a little concerned because just like with jiu-jitsu, there was a time where if you knew jiu-jitsu, you're like, whoa, you know something no one else knows.
Yeah.
But now with the popularity of MMA, how many people are we going to start seeing training? And not only that, how many people are we going to start seeing getting into fights because of what they saw in a fight? I mean, that already happens, right?
Yeah, we're going to see...
You already have guys who think they know, and they just like... do these techniques that they don't really know how to do, and they hurt people. But do you think that the population increases in the amount of people getting into this sport, or do you think it stays the same?
No, I think especially on a global level, as the UFC gets shows in more countries and just the platform begins to rise, you always see it. Like when they start to do shows in a country like Australia and then like over in Dubai, they, you know, within like the next 10 years, you see a champion or a contender emerge from that area. So it's cool to see whenever they spread the awareness and they like bring a big show to these areas, it plants a seed. And then a few years later, you start to see real fighters coming out of that area, which must mean that you have some real gyms and teams developing in those areas. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. How, you know, like jiu-jitsu is now, it's not a matter of can you do jiu-jitsu, it's a matter of which school in your town do you want to train at. You know, like before it used to be like you had to find a place to do jiu-jitsu, and then when you find it, it's like, is this real jiu-jitsu? Like, am I learning from somebody who just did a Gracie Online course, or like, am I like really going to a jiu-jitsu academy here? But now it's to the point where competition's gotten so big, you kind of know. You go to a jiu-jitsu competition, you see all the local schools there, you see how their kids do. So you know what schools in the area are legit, you know? And we're going to get that with MMA, but the good thing with MMA, it's as real as it gets. This isn't like, you know, this isn't just some hobbyist thing that's blowing up. This is real deal. We're fighting. Yeah.
And that's, you make an interesting point, because jiu-jitsu, you can train in the gi on weekends, you can flow, you can go to a class that's less intense and have fun, you know, feel the pressure and get smashed and all that, and experience your bumps.
Right.
But there's always a safety, there's always a tap, there's always a, hey, let's take a break really quick. But training MMA and fighting MMA, obviously, you're experiencing something far scarier than just getting your arm stretched out.
Right.
You're experiencing like getting punched in the face, kicked, bodily injury from both receiving and throwing.
Yeah.
You know, you can hurt, like you hurt your foot throwing a kick, throwing a body kick. Like anybody, like a lot of people, like I think the same way, right? A lot of people hit the elbow when they try to throw a body kick.
Yeah.
So you're risking.
When I tore my knee, I was throwing a kick as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you just like there's risk involved that the average meathead would immediately be repelled by.
Right.
Especially what I observe in martial arts, real martial arts, that is. I mean, even the hokey ones, they have some of this embedded. It's hard to maintain a level of ego. It's hard to maintain a level of superiority or self-elevation if you are constantly being put in your place by people who are smaller than you or by people who are who you perceive you should be stronger than.
Right.
And so people, I think, who have that little guy in them that makes them think that they're the best, they either reframe that thinking and make it more of a humble, like, oh, I'm the best because I have the work ethic to be the best, or they just leave. They don't show up.
Or they become Colby Covington.
Yes. Or that would be the third worst case scenario, yes. I wish, man, Colby, I know Colby's a good guy. I just know it. Outside of it, you can tell he's a guy. For sure. I love the Colby thing. I'm officially on the Colby train. A lot of people don't like him, and I understand. The fighters don't like him because the stuff he says is really mean. But I don't laugh harder during an interview. There's nobody that does an interview that makes me laugh like Colby makes me laugh. The names he comes up with, the way he says them, he knows that they're ridiculous when he's saying them, and the way he answers questions. Like, every time someone's asking him a question, I'm like, oh, this is a thoughtful question. Maybe we'll get, like, a thoughtful response. And he always goes the opposite. Oh, yeah. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and no matter how official he gets and how much credibility he earns throughout his career with his performances, because that's the thing about Colby. It's like, hate him all you want. The dude's going to come out and smash your favorite fighter. You know, like, hate him all you want. Brazilians are up in arms over the dude, and they match him up against RDA, and it's like, okay, Rafael dos Anjos is, you know, finally, this kid's getting thrown to a dog, and we're going to get to see him humbled by a Brazilian after all that Brazilian drama, and he comes out and smashes a Brazilian after he disrespects the country. Right.
That particular Brazilian.
A dog at that, like a real former champ, you know, and it's like, all right, there's no fake MAGA hat wearing, you know, Trump lover just coming in and smashing RDA. Like, that dude is the real deal. He's not just some, like, racist Republican who's got some confidence. Like, nah, Colby is a real dude with a real work ethic who's obviously been a part of a team for a decade and been able to grow in that environment and become what he is. So
he's
it's like
a dog too.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says, bro. That Usman fight, I was more impressed with Colby than even Usman. Like, that was a great fight for both guys. I mean, it was impressive what Usman did. Don't get me wrong. Usman was high volume and high energy for 5 rounds. It was great. But Colby's toughness, because he broke his jaw, went out there, and was still throwing, still getting hit, and still responding.
You see some of the stoppages we've seen lately. That stoppage against Usman was early. He was in on a single. Like, he was underneath, dug under. Like, he wasn't just defenseless. He was going for a single, still getting hit.
He was actually defending his head.
Right.
He wasn't getting punched in the face.
Right. Because if your head's under somebody's hips, it's hard to generate a power and, like, hit somebody underneath you.
Yes.
So those shots, he's not in danger of being, like, hit unconscious and just have his lights put out. So it's like, hey, let that kid try and dig his way out, even if he's having to run through punches to get out. You know, it's like...
I laughed because he said, I slipped on a banana peel and they stopped the fight.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I agree it was an early stoppage. I agree that they should have let him at least try to fight out of that position. He's the superior wrestler, so that's why I was like, okay, let's see what happens here. He's in on something, and he'll be able to finish this on Usman if he really drives. Because if you talk about
the only thing is Usman has a physicality advantage, and especially at that moment in the fight when Colby is a little hurt.
Sure.
I don't see him having the digging Usman's hips out of the position they were in, but
he
still.
was recovering. And so I wonder if
exactly.
If
and there was 10 seconds left in the fight.
Yeah, you let that one go.
If you let that one go to the distance, Colby gained so much credibility from that fight, and it's a totally different story. Yeah. And now you have a conversation, did he get robbed? Because, there's an argument he won 3 rounds.
I think Colby did enough for it to be a split decision either way, but I would have given it to Usman still because Usman dropped him. He landed, I think, a more devastating impact. Mm-hmm. So I would give it to Usman still. You see the way they looked after the fight. So I always judge damage too. I think that's important. And Usman did some damage, don't get me wrong. So I would not give that fight to Colby. But at least it would have been a split or majority decision, not unanimous. Because Colby was landing. That's why we were so excited about Masvidal with Usman, because we're like, if Colby landed, Masvidal's going to take that chin on a platter. And he never got the chance to.
Right.
I think he does better in a rematch with the camp. I don't know if he wins, but I think he does better. I want to move on to something really quick. This weekend, we have, a middleweight bout. I want you to tell me about the main event. Tell me what you think about.
So, obviously, what this card is about is the Golden Boy, Edmund Shabazian.
Right.
Yes. Who was there was an original main, Holly Holm versus I
don't know this.
Who was she fighting? Anyways, Holly Holm, that fight fell out. So now Shabazian is getting his first main event rather than the co-main to this fight night card. But, so, we're getting to see him on his first headline. This is, this kind of gives me, reminds me of when they gave Stylebender his first headliner against Brad Tavares, and that was Shabazian's last opponent, so they're kind of on similar trajectories. And then after that fight, they gave Adesanya Derek Brunson. So here we are, they're giving Shabazian Derek Brunson. They got him on the Stylebender path. So it's like, you can see what's happening here, for sure. And he has some techniques that make you go, wow, this kid's legit. And, he's got real boxing. He's in there feinting. He's in there, slipping and coming under with uppers. And, he's real technical. And he looked really good in his last performance. But, and I think he's going to expose Brunson because he's a good grappler. He's been in the sport of grappling longer than Stylebender has been. So I don't think Brunson is going to be able to get in there and run in and get his, effort-based takedowns that he really is known for. I see Shabazian keeping it on the feet and finishing Brunson in spectacular fashion. I kind of blew my prediction there. But that's what I see this fight being, is the Shabazian show. I see them building the next big thing and trying to get this big clash between him and Adesanya, and
that would be a fight. Goodness gracious.
A really good fight. And I don't know if that's what's next. I think they might give him a Gastelum. They might give him a Till. Him versus Till would be amazing. I don't think they give that to Till.
You don't think they give Shabazian to Till?
I think they still see Till as a promising prospect, even though he's already got a lot of miles and been in the game.
They don't want to bury.
I think that's what you do here. Coming off of 2 losses and then a close win and then another loss, I think you give Till another loss right now. Not to say I think Shabazian just comes out and starches Till or anything. I don't even know who wins that fight right now, but just saying, you don't want to bury Till.
But you know that in that fight, what the UFC would be really longing for would be a Shabazian victory, which
is going to just put him over, and now he is set up.
The RDA cowboy effect.
Yes.
We need somebody to put this guy over. Let's throw these guys at him. Yeah. Just abuse them.
Right. Like who are those gatekeepers?
Yeah, because I think Cerrone or RDA is going to be who Khamzat fights. And they're just going to throw these guys to this wolf.
Yeah, I think they give him, the 2 guys that he just fought were not that level. That guy that he just fought, his last fight, it was that kid's UFC debut.
Right.
That kid had never fought in a UFC fight before. So it's like, great, the kid's a savage, absolute monster.
He did what he was supposed to do if he's that high level against those guys.
Let's not throw him straight into the deep end yet. Let's give him now somebody outside the top 15 who's like a solid vet who's been in the game and, you know, is a good watermark test. You know, let's give him a Brad Tavares of that division. Not that he's in the same division, but I mean, he has been fighting on 185 too. So maybe you give him like somebody just outside the 15 in one of those weight classes, and then you break him into the 15 and then the top 10. You know, like, don't throw him straight there, because then there's nothing to do with him besides give him a title shot, and he's not a big name yet.
Hot take time. We should have imaging whenever I do a hot take. Okay. This is a hot take. He's going to fight one person, and then he's fighting Usman, and then he's beating Usman, and then he's never losing again for the rest of his life.
Wow. So
Shabazian. I think Shabazian is, I agree, I think he's going to win. Derek Brunson, I respect him. I think he's a formidable opponent, but I think he lacks the tools to beat a guy like Shabazian. Yeah. And I think Shabazian, I agree, will get the finish. If I had to bet on it, I would say he's probably going to finish that fight. So I agree.
And Shabazian is talking about, you know, Gary Vee stepping into the world of managing. Ronda Rousey is Shabazian's manager.
What?
Yeah. So he is her only client. She represents
him. Ronda Rousey has one client. At
she runs Rousey Acres, her farm, with her husband, and manages Edmund Shabazian.
That's it. Just the one guy.
Yeah.
So that guy wins and is dominant, and that's it. She's 1-0.
1-0.
Do you even add anybody else? Do you just keep one person?
Yeah, I guess you just ride with that.
Okay, that's a good question then. If you had to manage one fighter, who would you manage?
I mean, it's hard to not say Conor, just because if I'm getting 10% of any purse, it's a McGregor purse.
Yeah, but do you want to deal with managing Conor? You really?
10% of Conor's purse, yes. Any question, yes. Like, what am I going to have to deal with in that 12 weeks of build-up?
The dolly.
Okay. 10%. Conor's making at least $20 million.
As long as he's not throwing it at you, it's all good.
I'm getting at least $1 or $2 million off that.
Who would I manage? This is tough, man.
Yeah.
Very tough. Because you bring up a good point. If you're managing Conor,
you got to go just for the money, right?
Yeah, but your job is so easy.
Izzy would be a fun guy to manage, because you could do a lot with him. You can get into some different markets with him, and I feel like you could have some fun if you got real creative managing a guy like Izzy.
I would like to manage DC.
DC.
I think DC, of all the fighters in the UFC, DC is the person that I would have the most fun with on a fight week. Or like on some sort of build up to a fight, because we're probably going to be eating good, we're probably going to be laughing, and I'm probably going to be playing video games.
Yeah.
And not much else. And I don't really want the hecticness of people running up to someone for the autograph. DC's popular, but I don't think DC's putting himself in these paparazzi scenarios where I'm going to be like fatigued from attention. I think he isolates himself. And so if I'm in that inner circle with DC...
And DC fans are not Conor McGregor fans.
Correct. Correct. And it would be cool to, like, hang out and talk to an former Olympic wrestler.
Yeah.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah.
But let's finish off with our favorite game, our most favorite game.
Our most favorite.
A fight, corner, and roll. First up, we have Yoel Romero, Brock Lesnar, and Deontay Wilder. I'm going first. I'm fighting Wilder. That's right.
Okay.
Blast double legs immediately.
All right.
No stand. I might start the fight on my knees. I'm not even going to be close to him or his hands.
Yeah.
I'm immediately shooting the lowest, maybe a low single, because I want to get as far away from his hands as possible.
You don't butt scoot into him?
I might actually, yeah. No, I'm butt scooting.
Butt scoot, X guard.
Yeah, I'm X guarding, taking his back, and then choking him unconscious.
Yeah.
I'm cornering Yoel Romero because, I mean, Yoel Romero.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, bro.
No 4K, Jesus.
Come on, man. I got to corner the Cuban.
Yeah,
and I think hanging out with Yoel would be... I just said I would love to hang out with DC in a fight week.
That would probably be...
Yoel would supersede that.
Honestly, for managing, I'm surprised you didn't say Yoel or Masvidal.
I was thinking Masvidal, But then I was like,
am I trying to go around with that?
Right. I'm like, I don't want. Well, not that. I would love to manage Masvidal, but I don't know why I didn't say Masvidal. I think I was more like trying to avoid the obvious answer because it's obvious I would pick a Cuban fighter because that's more comfortable for me.
Racist.
So I picked DC. Right. Exactly. I don't want to be racist toward DC. But in all honesty, if I had to corner anybody, it'd be a Cuban fighter, and Yoel or Jorge.
Yeah.
And Yoel specifically, because all the things I said about DC. Same applies to Yoel.
Oh, yeah.
And an Olympic medalist.
Right.
And so there's a lot, and then also the Cuban thing. Yoel would be the guy. But anyway, I'm cornering Yoel. One, because I would never fight an alien. And two, because like there were just few things that would be more fun than to be in somebody like that's corner. And I'm rolling with Brock Lesnar. I mean, to me, I would consider it like rolling with a giant rock that can move.
Yeah.
You know, then who has wrestling.
Yeah.
But, you know, he got heel hooked by our...
It'd be like that Indiana Jones scene where you're just running away from a downhill rock.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, and I'm butt scooting to Brock for sure.
Yeah.
And he's going to smash my face. But anyway, that's my picks.
Okay. I got... all right, I'm gonna fight Brock. There it is. I'm fighting him. I'm going to be on my bike.
It's a good fight.
And I'm running.
Yeah.
For round one. Literally at some points, maybe sprinting and wall running. I'm going to do a lot of capoeira and parkour in my fight camp. And I'm sprinting from Brock in round one.
I got you by head kick.
Flying
on
knee
your
or
bike.
On my bike.
You're on your bike and you're going to land a head kick.
A drive-by head kick shooting via bicycle.
You are not going to stop, set your feet, and throw a head kick.
No.
You will be throwing kicks while running, and one of them will land.
Yeah, one of those like Sanchai cartwheel, like one-hand head kicks.
Yeah.
Like, just running and plant one hand and
there you go.
Throw that thing
You'll
up.
never see it coming.
Never. So I'm... I cannot do a fight week with Deontay Wilder. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I'm gonna be, I'll be in Yoel's corner with you. I guess, we could do a Yoel fight week together.
There we go.
And then on that card, we'll be cornering Yoel. You'll be fighting Wilder, and I'll be fighting Brock. So,
dude,
that is...
And both of us coming out with a win.
In Cuba.
Oh my God. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's set the stage right now. The date is 2028. I'm fighting Wilder in the co-main. You're fighting Lesnar in the main. And it's not championships on the line, Joey.
I feel this in my body.
It's Cuba's freedom.
I was literally going to say the way we market this is the card that breaks communism. Like, this sets all of them free. This is like Jailbreak Island.
Here's what we didn't say. We're cornering Yoel.
We're cornering Yoel.
Yoel is fighting the president, the dictator of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel. They're fighting. I think he has a judo background.
Or, to amend all the broken bridges, we reestablish that bridge. We break down that wall, so to speak. Yoel Trump on Fight Island, Cuba. The true Fight Island. I'm doing my fight camp in the Cuban Boxing Club barracks. I'm going all in. I'm getting a Cuban flag tattooed on my chest, I swear to God.
I think this is going to happen.
This has to.
You and I are going to free Cuba.
Dana's going to hear this clip.
Yes. I think he's already listening.
I think live.
We're recording this. We're not even live. And he's listening right now.
He is listening.
Wow.
Trump's listening. There's a few governments that are tapped into this.
That's deep.
The Illuminati has this, this is... Unfortunately, every sex trafficking ringleader is listening to this.
Well, that's unfortunate. And a very weird place you took that.
Yep.
Yeah.
My body is at risk right now.
Okay. Let's move on to the next three.
That being said.
Okay. Our next three, now that we've freed Cuba in the future, we have Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean,
Sugar Shane.
Zabit Abe Lincoln, and TJ Dillashaw.
Zabit Magomed Sharipov.
Magomed Sharipov, yes.
And TJ Dillashaw, a.k.a. Fat Tyler. All right. This is fun. This is real fun. We got some first of all, some underrated grapplers across the board. And some very fun strikers. In my opinion, 3 of definitely top 10, top 5 in terms of high level and just entertaining. 3 of the top 10, top 5 most entertaining and high level strikers. So this is a cool one. For the fight, who do I want to fight? All right, I think I want to fight TJ Dillashaw because his coming out party was against the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world at the time, which was Nova União's own. You know, he came out and won that belt against Dede, and Dede in the corner.
Right.
So I think, you know, Diego Brandao being that Nova União fighter, who at the time was the man, right. And I think, you know, I got to get that one back for the boys down there in Rio de Janeiro. I got to get that one back for the squad. I'm fighting TJ, of course, Dede, and Tete in my corner.
There you go.
Yeah, just, you know, on some gang shit, I'm fighting TJ. And then I got to corner Sugar Shane. I mean, we're rolling up. We're smoking dicks all week, no homo. Rolling fat joints. I'll be in the corner just rolling up. And then I'm rolling with Zabit. He's got that crazy Dagestani grappling, you know, in his belt, you know. And I'm going to say this. Out of all the Dagestani area fighters, Zabit is the most slept on and most underrated. He's got the best striking out of all of them.
Agreed.
He's the most well-rounded out of anybody out of Dagestan.
Agreed.
And we haven't even seen him assert himself grappling-wise, you know, so much in the UFC. We've seen him fight the Kelvin Caters of the world. Who takes Kelvin Cater's shots? Nobody. Zabit beats that guy on the scorecards in just a kickboxing match. You know, like, I gotta.
Interesting.
I gotta roll with him, see what that grappling's all about, and then I'm gonna, you know, be able to make my prediction there and say Zabit's the best fighter in the world. But I'm not willing to say that without seeing the grappling yet. So I want to roll with him and see what he's got up his sleeve.
Fair enough. I'm gonna fight Sean O'Malley. Here's why. Any insult that he hurls at me will make me more popular.
Right.
And so I think that'll help the podcast. That'll help us. He's definitely going to insult me because he's way better than me as a fighter. So he's just gonna, say something about me on his podcast, and then maybe after that we break bread. He comes on the podcast, we go on his podcast, and now it becomes a networking thing. So I'm doing it for us, like everything. I'm going to roll with. I don't like any of these options. Okay, I'm going to roll with TJ Dillashaw.
Savage wrestler. Blue belt in the gi.
Blue belt in the gi, so we're both blue belts.
Yep.
So maybe I'll have a chance to loop choke him or something.
Yeah, you're going in the gi with him, okay.
And I have 100% in the gi. And when I say it's always in the gi, I would want to choke Dillashaw just for just in the name of Cody No Love. But I'm sure he'd be a fun guy to roll with because him being a little smaller, he's probably very technical. It'd probably be something where, I could practice and going against a guy who's very technical, can wrestle his butt off, and is also very physically gifted and fast and just very athletic. And then I'm cornering Zabit because he's the only one left of these three. I have no other reason to corner him. I don't know if we get along. He doesn't speak English.
He speaks it, but
so I think I would just be there. I would look totally lost, like what's his name? John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, where I'm just holding the... That's going to be me. But yeah, those are my three.
Okay. All right, so moving on. We got the big dogs. We got Dana, obviously UFC Prez, and Scott Coker, the face of Bellator, their president, the the Asian or Samoan version of Dana White, very different in their ways, but, the Zen version of Dana, if we've got the West in Dana, we've got the East in...
Himalaya White?
Yeah. So we got Dana, Scott Coker, and your high school principal.
Well, my high school principal was an old Cuban lady.
Oh.
So I'm fighting her because she took everything I worked for.
Yeah.
Definitely giving her the hands.
I like that.
Giving her the feet.
Uh-huh.
Front kick to the body.
Yeah.
Call the fight. I'm going to obviously corner Dana. I mean, if Dana's fighting, it's probably going to be against Dan Le Batard.
Yeah.
Very interesting fight. I hate to be in the opposite corner of Dan as a Cuban. But, I mean, hanging out with Dana on a fight week, like, you literally can't. Connor would be the only thing better than that.
Guaranteed. Here's a guarantee. You're smoking cigarettes by the end of that fight week. 100%. You're addicted to cigarettes.
Addicted to cigarettes. Yep. My face is completely pink.
Mm-hmm. Inflamed, addicted to cigarettes. Like, I don't even know what would come of being in that. What does Dana ever get off the phone or
no,
like?
Yeah, definitely some radiation.
That's gotta just be
cocaine too. He sniffles a lot.
He's got it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little sniffly. I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah.
Scott Coker, I guess I'm rolling with. I don't even know if he knows any jiu-jitsu. If he doesn't, it's always fun. Yeah. It's always fun rolling with someone who knows nothing. So Scott Coker will. Coker was the last name of the last head coach to coach the Miami Hurricanes to a national championship. So.
Respect.
And I know a guy named Scott that I train with. So.
I know a guy named Scott.
There we go, see?
He used to sleep on my couch.
Really?
Yeah.
Still friends with him?
Yeah. It was just his birthday a couple days ago. So shout out to Scotty.
Shout out to Scott,
yeah. All right.
At least you're still friends with him.
Yeah.
Unlike George and Jorge.
He's fat with a six-pack. So that's
really
weird. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he still thinks he's jacked and shit.
But he's fat.
Yeah. Weird. Anyways, so we have Dana, Scott Coker, and my high school principal.
I have a feeling I know who you're gonna fight.
Do you?
But go on. I want to hear you say it first. I'll tell you if I'm right or wrong.
So, I think the cool thing that could come from fighting the high school principal would be getting to fight like in my high school stadium. Because I feel like that's where it's got to take place if you fight your high school principal in like the basketball arena or the stadium. Sure. But I don't know. He was cool. He got me out of trouble a few times and stuff. I sold a lot of football tickets, so he let me off the hook a lot, So he showed me some grace. I don't know if I could really smash him like that. But he did suspend my dog, Kevin, so expel him. So I do got to smash him. So with that being said, I'm rolling with my high school principal. I'm going to smash him. I'm going to work him for the entire round. I'm going to choke him at the end. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to hit him because I respect him.
Fair enough.
So, all right, he deserves a smashing, but he gets spared. All right. This is tough for me because, you know what? I'm fighting Scott Coker in the UFC. Because I know the way that gets promoted, that it's gonna be a lot of fun, and they're gonna be building me up. They're gonna want Scott to lose, so I like that.
I thought you were gonna fight Dana.
I did too. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
But then when I thought about it, I was like, well, wait a second. Do I have to fight? What promotion am I fighting them in? So, I'm gonna fight Scott Coker
in the UFC.
In the UFC,
the biggest star.
Yeah,
and then immediately you'll now be the president of Bellator if you win.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I guess that puts me in Dana's corner as well. So here we are. Yeah. At this point we've just established like we are a dominant fight camp.
Yeah, 100%.
We have Yoel Romero and Dana White.
Yoel Romero winning to free Cuba, along with us winning, and then Dana defeating Dan Le Batard.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
It does not.
That's the top tier athletic community too.
Right.
We're not. It's not like we're
No.
talking about people who. We're talking about elite competitors.
2 elite athletes that have like
Right.
PED allegations swirling around their heads due to their physical
and
makeup.
Dana, specifically Dana, but Levitard's got a very big face, and that wide face is just excellent for fighting.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like he can take a good punch.
Yeah, he could take damage, which at the end of the day, what more could you ask for?
Couldn't ask for anything else. Well, this is the end of our journey.
This is the end. Yeah, I mean, we got some
This is our
cool
last show.
stuff coming up. Yeah, but we're never going to talk about it.
Right.
We got, just some cool stuff.
Looking forward to fight night.
Fight night is going to be fun. Going to be fun hearing if Cody No Love goes down to 125. They're supposedly working on that fight. There's some cool stuff coming up. If we get a concrete Israel date, does he get that September show with Khabib coming out in October? It looks like he's getting that September show. So some cool things on the horizon.
Now, I want to leave the audience with this.
Yeah.
I kill a communist for fun, but for a green card, I'm gonna carve him up real nice.